Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I have been having some thoughts, and it is really about inclusion, diversity, equity, and so forth. I realize that there are so many terms being thrown around as it relates to these areas. Some individuals have now stated that inclusion, diversity, and equity will not get you anywhere. Now we have to have a sense of belonging. But let us look carefully. If I treat you good, and I give you everything that's necessary, and I have policies that are designed to make you included. Wouldn't you have a sense of belonging over a period of time if I treat you just the way I would treat myself? That's a sense of belonging in inclusion. So my issue is people are trying to separate it, okay? But I want to make it clear. If you have a set of children and you treat them all the same within the same house, they will have the sense of belonging in that house. If you treat them differently, they won't have a sense of belonging. They won't want to stay there. So when we see people pushing the line, it's not enough. Just remember, treat everyone the same way and we will be good to go. Now, we have a lot of frameworks that we look through when we're looking at inclusion. There are so many theories flowing around too. For example, we say to understand inclusion, we have to look at anti-racist education or pedagogy. Yes, it's important because sometimes people do not come from a historical lens. And that is also important when you're examining inclusion. Another person might say, all right, I want to look through the lens of colonialism and the structures that have been built. We know our society, of course, has not been built on equality. So I understand that framework. And if we look on the process of inclusion in our society, we can see that the United States was never created to have a system of justice and equality and inclusion for everyone. We know that. We know how blacks were treated differently from the whites. We know that other people arrived from Europe, entered this country, and immediately were able to move into the caste or system that allowed them to have access. We all know that. So when you talk about inclusion and we have everyone taking a course and doing a workshop and all in the discourse on inclusion, I will not say that we're moving towards an inclusive process until I see systematic change, or changes to be exact. We must advocate truly for change, and it must be demonstrated in our organizational practices, in the representation of those who are the managers and the leaders of the organization. You can't have an inclusive system and organizational culture and a sense of belonging in an organization that everyone who's at representation at the top level represents one sector in our society. That's not inclusion. How you expect people to have a sense of belonging if these areas are not addressed, that they can't see someone who's similar to them? We have to really critically dissect what we want in our society. So you might want to say that, yeah, you want to be a part of the initiative. Yes. Well, I see so many debates. I see so many initiatives for inclusion, diversity, and equity. And to be honest, let us not forget segregation and the movement towards civil rights and all the initiatives that were so in the spotlight and we thought we were there and we realized we were not there. Those in charge believed that they were there. Just remember the efforts made by others before during the civil rights era and those prior to the civil rights era and the work that they did. They did a lot of work to get us here. So when we say that it's going to be solved by X and Y or by workshops or by this and so forth, and we have the passion that's burning and because we want to be a part of the agenda, that's another problem I have. A lot of people don't want to be a part of the solution. They want to be a part of the initiative that they can put and tick a box on their CV. Let me get this clear. Inclusion is not a tick box situation. All right? In Jamaica, we use the term sympathizing, hypocrite. It means that you do not want to make change or you're pretending to be in line with the person's agenda of inclusion, but you have no intentions of creating that change. So you're presenting yourself as if you're truly inclusive when you're not, because inclusion does not reside on a piece of paper or checkbox. It resides in your mind, your practice, your actions, and that will also be seen in your organization, in your classroom. So when someone talks about all these things and we need to do this and do that and do more, let me get one thing clear. Inclusion is not about the number of theories that we have there. They're good for a framework, that is. But it's about you making that personal change, and that personal change to include someone. So when you include that person, they become so aware and they have a sense of belonging in your organization. So don't separate having a sense of belonging from inclusion. It's part of the inclusion process. That is what I gained from doing my master's in special needs and inclusion studies back in UK in 2004. They're not separate. So go back to the literature before you coin these words of belonging as if they're not aligned with inclusion. Therefore, when you try to separate the sense of belonging from inclusion, you're defeating the process, because belonging is part of inclusion. And inclusion is treating everyone the same way you'd want to be treated. However, to do that, you have to inform yourself with the knowledge necessary about their culture, history, socioeconomic background, and so forth. Just reflect on your action, change your ways, and as a matter of fact, make sure that you practice inclusion. Inclusion is not a one-off. If you think inclusion is a one-off, you'll get caught. So many people have been caught stating they're inclusive when they're not. So my thought is, at this point in time, stop making various variables attached to inclusion. Inclusion and equity provides a framework through which you treat everyone in the same manner you'd want to be treated, and you make every effort to have them included. Because let me tell you, people can live in a house for 25 years and have no sense of belonging. However, the process of inclusion is cultured, it's nurtured, it's developed over a period of time, and then you practice inclusive practices throughout. And part of that is building that friendship, that sustained opportunity within the relationship that yields success. So everyone, rather than coming out of the relationship, wants to stay in. That's my critical thought. And please share this video.